Welcome, everyone, to Hello, Ernest at the Kitchen Table, connecting writers and readers. I am Jan Pratt, the author of several children's picture books and also the author of a series of yoga lesson plans for kids.
And I am GaGa Gabardi. I'm a co-author with Judilee Butler. Together, we write the Phoebe Cornell Mystery Series. Join us for every episode as we connect readers to your next great read. The kitchen table now is Jodi Bowersox. And Jodi, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us today and also get a little more insight on who you are as a person and connect you with your readers. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
You bet. Our pleasure. I know you're very, very busy, and we appreciate all of the great volunteer work you do with Colorado writers. It's so appreciated. Tell me, Jodi, how did you get started in all of this? What inspired you to start writing?
I've kind of been a writer in various forms since I was a kid. Way back in the day, I was the news reporter for several 4-H clubs. And
Oh,
they kept electing me because I kind of liked doing it and nobody else did. And I got purple ribbons for my, stuff I did at the fair with that. So I did that. I was a part of 3 clubs at one time. And I think I was a news reporter for each of them at one time or another. So I started there and then, of course, moved on to really, really awful poetry.
oh
Um,
no.
all of which have been burned. But then, I stumbled onto something that I did for my church for like 17 years, and that was writing children's productions for the stage, Christmas programs, and also for my homeschool group. I was homeschooling my kids, and so I wrote one for them and just skits and stuff for their retreats and just fun things. And I'd started kind of in that vein with a play I wrote for my senior project in college. I was a theater major. And so I wrote my own play, put it on for my senior project. So that kind of got me going with the stage stuff. And then I had kids, and you start making up stories for your kids and little songs, which ironically, like just 2 years ago, I thought, hey, those little songs I made up for my kids would make cute little books. So that prompted my sing a story books, which this is one of them. I'll get the glare off of it.
Yeah, terrific.
Out
Yeah.
in the field, there's also Up in the Air, which is about an airplane, and Little Brown Horsey. And so, since these did start out as songs, they have the music in there, so you can sing it if you want, or you can, if you're not a
Wow.
music player, you can go to my website and hear me sing it. So that was
Great.
just a fun little thing that just occurred to me recently. Gosh, I could do that. Then I had another kid's book. Had this idea roll out of me. I don't know from where because I have no little girls. The Stubborn Princess uh, came out of me, and then I got my son to do the drawings, and I did the watercolor. So he can do what I can't, which is make these really fun characters. I have to see something to draw it, to paint it, but he can do these really fun characters. So we worked on that one together. I have another one called A Tale of Two Kitties. And so that was kind of, I got in the kids' book market early on. My mom was a really, really big romance reader. And she read all the romances in her little small town library. They would get her more. And she said, you know what, Jodi, you could do better than this. You could write better books than these. And at the time, I was just, I was busy, I was doing homeschool. I was doing all this stuff with my church and all this. And I go, okay, someday I'll do that. And I had this little tiny spark of an idea. And one day I just said, okay, I'm going to try it. And it was an obsession from day one of just putting my fingers to the keyboard and letting that idea go. And I have not looked back. I'm about ready to put out, I think, my 19th novel. So yeah, it's just been so much fun. Um, just, and I feel like in many ways writing kind of is my therapy, you know,
Okay.
when the world is going crazy, when, you know, there's too much drama in my family or whatever, it's like, okay, I need to write. I'd like to think about these characters' problems instead of what's going on in my life. So it's been a real joy, really.
Wow, wow, what a multi-talented person you are, or adventure you've had. That's it. But with all of this, was there one thing that you can look back on that maybe triggered moving forward? Was it something at a fairgrounds with 4-H club? Was it your first newsprint? What was one thing that triggered mom, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, she really pushed me to try the novels, and that was and unfortunately she was gone before I tried.
Uh,
I like to think she's looking down and happy with what I've done, but um yeah, she really gave me that push to just try it. And like, okay. And what I learned from that is even if I don't have the whole book in my head, start writing with what you got and it'll come as you write. And that's always been my process. I can't see that far ahead. I'm not one of these people that can plot out every point, and I just have a general idea of where I want to end up, where I'm going to start, and the characters just kind of grow and flow and tell me the
and
story.
come together. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's exciting. Very exciting. What do you have? Can you see some kind of a theme or some kind of a standard message that you're always trying to share with your readers?
Well, I kind of started out with Christian fiction. The first book just had a little element of it in there. And then the second one was a little bit more. And then I wrote a whole series. My Rocky Mountain series starts with Rocky Mountain Angels. It's a 5-book series, and this is a contemporary faith fiction romance series. And then I kind of left the Christian fiction genre, um, mainly because the readers are very particular, I have to say, for the Christian fiction market. If you don't have it just, you know, just so, they really tear you to shreds. And I hate to say that, but yeah, I had to leave that because it was just heartbreaking, some of their comments. So, and I'm a,
Oh,
my theme I have on my shirt is real life, real love. And
all
sometimes
right.
fit into the clean, absolutely perfect view that those readers want. You know, real life is difficult. Real life is hard, and real life doesn't always have perfect characters who can quote the Bible extensively, or you know, or whatever. so so instead I moved on to writing books that I feel like have the themes of redemption, forgiveness, you know, just second chances, making a better way, you know, those kind of things that are in my books that are not necessarily pointed at the Christian fiction market.
Right. Just standard life kind of usage is the
Yes,
way I think about it. Yeah, there is forgiveness, there is redemption, there is, and it's fiction.
yes.
So anything goes, anything goes. So
Right.
interesting. Yeah, nice. Well, do you have, with all this writing, I mean, your 19th book coming out now, do you have time to read what other people have written?
I actually do. I'm a pretty good reader. I read every night before I go to bed. It helps me wind down, get, you know, makes me tired enough to sleep. I have had issues with sleep, so it seems like that helps. So yeah, I usually read a half an hour to an hour every night.
And what
Um,
do you read? What's your preferred genre or
so
author?
I write in a lot of different genres, and I also read in a lot of different genres. I love
Okay.
fantasy, I love sci-fi, I love I've been on a medieval romance binge for a while.
Wow.
And so yeah, I read all kinds of stuff. I read Lessons in Chemistry because somebody recommended that, which is kind of a book club kind of book, which I don't normally read that much. I'm usually into genre fiction a little bit more. I usually like some element of romance in there somewhere, just because I think that is real life, and if you leave that out, you've kind of left something out. My husband always teases me about how much people eat in my books, that they're eating all the time. That's real life, you can't go a couple hours without being hungry again.
Uh, that's wonderful. Yeah, exactly. But with what you're reading, then, do you think there's any crossover into what you're writing? Do you have certain things you're looking for that you can
I think
reuse?
I think we just absorb that without even consciously knowing it. I think that the best writers kind of they absorb the best of the best books, and then they can kind of spit
Okay.
it out. Like this medieval romance binge I've been on, that sent me into, hey, I've got a story idea, and I've got 25,000 words now on a medieval romance. I've never written in that genre before. So it's just fun to try something different and push it in new directions. I couldn't
Yeah.
be the one who writes, 50 Highland romances. It gets boring to me. I've done time travel for a while, and I feel like this medieval romance is giving me a little break from that, because time travel is very brain intensive.
Yeah.
Everything has to work right in a time travel book. Kind of like a mystery. A mystery has to, you have to tie up all the ends. It has to work. Um, so the medieval romance, I thought, oh, this is just pure joy. This is just fun. I'm not having to strain my brain, to take care of all the time jumping stuff. So
Ah, very good, very good. Is that going to be a series then? And if so, what's your main
who knows?
character?
Who knows? We'll see. This is just kind of a fun thing that I started, and I'm like, well, yeah, it's got some great characters going. I've got a good plot. I think it's, yeah. So I don't know. We'll see if I have another idea after this one's done. But
Okay, all right. Well, look forward to it. Did you give me a date on your next book coming out?
well, I've had a few glitches in that one, but I'm hoping July that I can get the next one out, which is
Okay, all right,
would be the second one after this. This is Time Agents
all
Complications,
right.
my last one. The one coming out will be Time Agents Deceptions. And this series sprang out of, where'd it go? I guess this isn't the first book in the series, but this is my Lightning Rider series. This is my first time
Okay,
travel series. So this one kind of jumps out of the middle of this series and takes
right.
off with some of the characters that appeared in this book.
And
So
every one of your books has just a terrific cover. I've read several of your books, not all 19, I must confess, but all of your covers really are interesting. I
these
appreciate
are
that.
this is my older son Tristan Bowersox's work. He's a
Wow.
photographer and he's good with Photoshop. And this is actually a woman from my church. We did this shot in my basement in front of a green screen, and he put it all together. So
Wow.
these two, weirdly, I found on like Shutterstock, and they were just perfect. I mean, that just never happens. You go
Right.
looking
Yes.
and you're like, oh, nobody.
Like,
This
oh.
was like, yeah, this was absolutely perfect. So I nabbed those two for that one. And then I've got another photo shoot lined up for June for my next book. I saw a couple in church again. I watched them in church. I watch people in church. Oh, he's great for a book cover.
We won't admit to that to the higher power. So, okay, that definitely works.
This this one, Jean, I did the artwork for this. I did the
Okay,
buildings, did the art, and then my son did the all the fancy font work on it.
okay, all
So
right. Yeah, the font is beautiful. What about your writing name? You have various genres. Are you using a pen name specific to each genre then?
not really, because yeah, I do kind of
Okay.
want people to, some people jump genres, a lot don't, but I want them to be able to find other things in my name if they are a person that likes a lot of different stuff. When you're out selling, you ask people, what do you read? And they say, oh, a little bit of everything. Well, I'm not sure that's true, but at least if they do, actually, they'll find a little bit of everything in my pile. But for my kids' books, I do have a different name. I have JB Stockings for my
Ah,
children. books. And that comes from Jodi J. Bowersox Stockings. So that's where
All
I got
right, good, good.
I actually had the name way before I started writing books.
Okay. Excellent, excellent. Well, what are your habits? Now I know that you like to read before you go to sleep at night, but what are the writing habits?
I'm not one of those strict time kind of persons because I think life just never works that way. At least not for me. So I just write whenever I can. I love to write, so it's my first go-to if I, have time, I'm writing. Um, Also I do art. I'm illustrating another children's book. Um, this one I did last year, a couple years ago. And this is some of my art. I do pet portraits mostly. That's my
Okay.
thing. And I don't claim to be a great artist beyond pet portraits, but I have
Well,
that down, and I can do animals really well. And so this is my book called Cats, and it has 20 custom watercolor prints in here, including the cover. And these are all my cats that I've had through my life, or a couple of my kids' cats are in here. So this
okay.
was a book that I really enjoyed putting together. And it'll be the one book I leave boxes and boxes of to my children in my will, because I had to go to a regular printer to get this done so that the pictures looked good.
All
Um,
right.
and the next one I'm working on is called Cat and Rabbit, and I'll just show you one of the illustrations that I've been working on there.
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
So
Oh,
that'll
yeah.
be fun.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, beautiful work. To me, you are not only an author, but also an artist. And so the direction you're going to go in, are you going to write today? Are you going to draw today? Where do you draw the discipline to make that happen? Can you talk to us about that?
Well, I'm very, very fortunate to have a wonderful husband who I call my sugar daddy. Um, so
Okay.
I have I have more time than he has. He always points that out when we have a table together, and three-fourths of it is my books, and then his little corner over here is his two. He's going to have another one come out this year, but he says, "You can you tell who has the full-time job?" He always says, and it is him. So I it's just been luck that I have been able to devote this much time to what I enjoy doing. And but I have to kind of force some balance on my life, because I will be so obsessed with writing a novel that everything else can go. I force myself to get up and go to the grocery store occasionally. I hate grocery shopping, but I have to go and do it. And even just I force myself to go outside. It's like, it's nice, it's beautiful. Go smell the lilacs, go outside. So I have to kind of just make myself do that thing. And I enjoy art, and I enjoy writing, but I tend to enjoy writing more. I enjoy the whole process of writing more than I enjoy the whole process of art. For art, it's
Okay.
kind of like a struggle to get. I'm wanting to get to that end. It's like planting the seeds and you're waiting for the flowers. But the process in between is not that enjoyable, because
Okay.
I'll be oh, why did I use that color? That is the worst color I could have picked. Is going to be the first, draw a painting I throw out. Is that, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, there it is. It's perfect. It's done.
Okay.
So, but the whole writing process to me is just a little bit more enjoyable. And maybe it's because it's so easy to fix your mistakes. You put down the wrong word,
True.
you just back
True.
up and it's gone. Whereas art is
Exactly.
is a
Yes.
little more
Yes.
difficult to fix something. And so I did force myself on the weekend to do a new sketch for the Cat and Rabbit book, but I have to really plan that in. Otherwise, I'll let it slide. So
Right. Right. Well, what about with that whole writing process? What about character development? How do you fold that into your writing?
Characters are really important to me, and that
Yeah.
making them deep, making them consistent, internally consistent with themselves, and what they do in the book. I that is one of my most important things in writing, and it really does come, I think, for me, just through the process. I have a hard time of just, I'll do it. I'll go through the motions of who is this character and write some things down. If read it later, it's like, oh well, it didn't really turn out like that. It just they have to just kind of grow. I think they just grow as you write, for me
Okay.
anyway.
All right.
And I remember one book when I started a new series. A friend of mine that I hike with, we talk a lot about, because she reads all my stuff, and so we talk about writing. And I said, I don't know who these characters are yet. I need to sit down with them and have some tea, because I just didn't know who they were, and you just got to keep going, and you'll end up, getting rid of a lot of the stuff you write. But that's just part of the process of finding out who they are.
Okay. All right. Good. What about advice for people just coming into the hobby or occupation of writing? Any bit of advice you have gained from all of this work that you've done?
Well, generally, I say throw out all the advice you've heard, because there's always these people are like, you can't write a good first sentence until you've written your last sentence. And I'm just like, come on, I've written some
Huh?
first sentences, that I didn't change later. Sometimes I have changed them, but, that's not a solid rule. And it bugs me when people have these solid rules for writing. Yes, you want to have excellent grammar. You want to have excellent editing. You want to have a great story. But for advice for writing or just getting into writing is just do it. Just
Just in
start anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, just
Okay.
take that little tiny idea and just kind of run with it for a while. See where it goes.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I'm imagining there's a lot of people out there like me that the whole story doesn't come right away. And then they're just sitting there waiting for it. And it's like, I don't have it, so I can't start. And it's like, no, just start and see what comes after that.
Great, great, great. Yeah, great advice. I think people can really take that and run with it. It's okay to not have the whole thing in your brain at the beginning. And so,
Right.
good advice. Thank you. Yeah, I wonder, we still have a few minutes. Would you care to read, share with us something that you'd enjoy a few minutes?
Oh, wow. Let me see. Maybe I can just read you the prologue of Time Agents Complications.
Okay, great.
Give you a taste of that. And just to set this up a little bit, the other books ended up with people through time who are setting up time traps to catch the people who can jump through time, because their blood is different and they want to steal their blood so other people can jump through time. So that's kind of thing. There was a time trap in this one that these two kind of helped some others escape from.
One
But
question, is this a series then?
this one, yes, this was a 3-book series, Jolt, Jump, and Jive. And then this jumps out of the middle of it for a new series called Time Agents.
All
So,
right.
which they ran into one time agent in that one that kind of set them up. Okay, well, just go for it here. And by the way, they jump through time on lightning. That's why there's
Ooh,
lightning.
okay, great. Good to know. Thanks.
Corey, I don't like the look of this one. We could go up like Dorothy. Corey looked at the swirling clouds not too far in front of them as he leaned over the steering wheel. I know, Ash, but I don't think we have a choice. We barely made it through that last blockade, and we're down to our last few bucks. If there's any lightning at all, we've got to head into it. He leaned back and blew out a breath, running a hand through his greasy dark hair. He'd done a lot of crazy, adrenaline-inducing things with his former girlfriend before she died in a motorcycle crash, but even Rachel would have balked at driving into the path of a tornado. A flicker of light in the clouds caught his eye. Did you see that? Yeah, Ashley breathed out, barely above a whisper. Corey reached for her hand. Neither of them could have guessed their lives would take this turn, but everyone who had witnessed the debacle at Trace Research was being hunted down. If not for the vial of VX10 Jewel had given Jeff, they wouldn't stand a chance. With it, they would be jumping into a complete unknown. After much deliberation, they had chosen the future. 300 years in the future, to be precise. A date Jewel had slipped into his pocket without him knowing. At least they hoped they simply wouldn't get fried to a crisp. Jeff had snooped around the Trace lab just long enough to determine a dose for the vaccine, and they did all develop a lightning mark, but hell, it was anyone's guess if it would really work. Not long ago, he would laugh till he hurt at the notion of jumping through time on a lightning bolt. Now he was banking on it. They'd gotten separated from Jeff 2 days ago, and Corey hoped he'd made it back to Nellie in 1908. Lightning split the sky, and Ashley jumped. Corey squeezed her hand and pulled off to the side of the Oklahoma backcountry road just as rain started to sputter. I think we need to get out. We don't know if your car will come with us, and we have no idea where we'll land. He gave her a lopsided smile as he put it in park. We don't want to squish anybody. She nodded and hooked her blonde hair behind an ear, but Corey could see she was coming unglued. He didn't blame her. They hadn't had more than a few hours of sleep in several days, and reasonable people didn't try to get hit by lightning. He turned off the ignition, but didn't bother taking out the key. After getting out, he grabbed their oversized duffel bag out of the back seat and slung it over his shoulder. It was large for a bag, but small when you considered it was all he and Ashley had to take with them on this next trip into who knows what. Ashley's door opened and he jogged around to help her out. He wanted to have a good hold on her when it happened. She shivered as she stepped out, pulling her hood up over her head. They both had jackets on, but it was nearing October and the storm had cooled things down considerably. The rain wasn't helping either. He slid an arm around her and they began walking toward the heart of the storm. If it started to pour, at least he'd get that shower he'd been needing for days. Raindrops splattered Ashley's face as she looked up at the thunderclouds illuminated by the setting sun. I'm glad that spinning cloud has gone over. Yeah, thank God for that. A sizzling bolt had them both pulling up short, sucking in a breath, but since they didn't appear to have been hit, Corey exhaled and urged Ashley forward again. Her sudden sobs had him stopping once more and wrapping her in his arms. Ash, I know you're scared, but this truly is the only way out for us, and I promise I will not let go, no matter what happens. Either we'll die together or jump together. He pulled back just enough to lift her chin. The last month with you has been everything I needed after Rachel. He gave her a smile. So I could die happy right now, but I'm counting on a future with you. He was hoping to distract her as the rain came harder, keeping her eyes off the clouds. Say the date. She held his gaze and swallowed. 2325. He felt a tingle run up his spine and he put his lips on hers, his heart galloping. The bolt that found them felt as if it were turning him inside out with blinding intensity, but there wasn't any pain. Then the glaring light focused into a pinpoint and disappeared, leaving only black.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much. That's great. And once again, what is the name of that book?
This is Time Agents Complications.
All right, good, good. Well, great. Jodi, thank you so much for sharing with us today. And thanks for your time at the kitchen table. It's been fun and want to wish you best of luck going forward with all of your many varied artistic endeavors. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, good luck and thanks for listening to this informal conversation with today's author.
Join us next time as we connect writers and readers around the kitchen table.